Boy, oh boy, wow. How's everyone doing today? Good? Perfect. Good afternoon. On behalf of the students of the Foster School of Business, I'd like to thank everyone who is joining us here today. From far and near, family, friends, faculty, staff, and most importantly, the 2018 graduating class of the Foster School of Business. Woo! See, now before I begin, I have a small request of the graduates. ዘብጽሕኹም ስድራቤትኩም በሉ ሰላም በልዎም. I didn't tell you guys to stand up. Hold up now. You guys can sit down. I got all of Eritrea over here. Did anyone understand what I said? I just asked all of you to stand up and wave to the people that helped you on this journey in my native language, Tigrinya, which is spoken in Eritrea. Since that was unsuccessful, we might have to try that again later. We are all here today because of those who made sacrifices for us. I stand here today not because of my journey, but because of the journey my parents Takhle and Mahalet started. My dad was born in a small village in the East African country of Eritrea at the age of 8. At the age of 8, he began helping his family on their farm. Life was peaceful. His family never worried, and they truly had everything that they needed: love, food, and each other. My father trekked 17 miles regularly to begin high school. Now let's just stop and take that in for a moment. How many of us order Uber Eats from a place that's less than 2 miles away? That's everyone. I know that's everyone in that crowd. I'll order Uber Eats from a restaurant on the app, and my father routinely walks 17 miles to go to school. But that was his commitment to his education. Within 3 months of starting school, however, word spread that Eritrea was at war with Ethiopia to gain independence, and the school abruptly closed. Ethiopian soldiers began to raid small villages, and my father and his friends left to join the Eritrean guerrilla fighters. When they got to the camp, the soldiers told them to leave, as they had no space. My dad returned to his village to protect his family. While herding animals, Eritrean soldiers entered his village and recruited 20 of his peers to join them. He raced to catch up to them, but they were gone. He later learned that each of those men died. My dad acknowledges that he is a lucky man. His older brother soon asked him to come to the capital, telling my father that there was a job waiting for him. But it was all a ruse to get my father back into school. My dad eventually became a registered nurse in Eritrea. He began his career at the height of the war, seeing injuries that no person should ever see. With the lack of resources and skilled caretakers, he often played the role of doctor, pharmacist, and nurse in critical times. One day while grocery shopping, he noticed a young woman running the store. My mother. Hey mom, where you at? Hi, I love you. Impressed by her beauty and the management of the store, he decided to take his chance, and 30 years later, they're still married today. So apparently good management skills can find you guys love. So whoever took management 300, 320, there you go. Unlike my father, my mother grew up in the city, being one of 10 children. She was admired by her community for being wise beyond her years and her business acumen. She was my grandfather's right-hand woman and oversaw all the business operations before she was even 20. Even in the midst of war and uncertainties, my mother was a trendsetter, being one of the very few women who drove at the time. No wonder my dad was so impressed. My parents never had a plan to leave Eritrea, but the war seemed to have no end. With the desire to have better opportunities and to escape the 30-year war they grew up in, they risked everything for the opportunity of a better life. They traveled through Israel and Greece before arriving in Canada. They continuously had to learn new languages, cultures, and social norms, something that many of us, as the world becomes more globalized, are going to have to do. In Canada, my dad could only find work as a cleaner. To make money, he cleaned parking lots, scraping gum from the asphalt on his hands and knees. Imagine a well-respected nurse in his home country in a foreign land cleaning gum off the ground. But he didn't let this deter him. My parents were eventually brought to Seattle by my aunts. While setting to gain his RN license, my parents worked numerous jobs, to support our family here and back in Eritrea. My father has now been an RN, helping people in the US for the past 20 years. My mother obtained an IT degree while being a stay-at-home mom, raising me. Just think about it, having to restart your life over and over again. My parents, as well as many of the parents in this arena today, are the definition of grit and perseverance. It is immigrants like my parents who make America great. Contributing individuals who risk everything that they know and love to better the lives of their loved ones. They are the glue that keep this country functioning. The one thing that ties most of us together is that at some point, one of our ancestors made the trek for a better life for their families. The vast majority of the people in this room are not indigenous people who can claim original title to this land. Rather, we are immigrants or the descendant of immigrants. Bashing immigrants and the power of their labor is a false narrative. Standing in New York Harbor, Lady Liberty implores the world to give her their tired and poor, yearning to breathe free. She says, give me your tired and poor. She doesn't say, let a couple of them in. Where's your H-1 visa? Where are your papers? She says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. My family heard her call. They arrived poor and tired with hope for a better future. And I stand here today as a first-generation immigrant child, a proud American citizen, yearning to give back to the country that I love. As graduates of the foster school, when we find ourselves in boardrooms, when we find ourselves in meetings, be sure to look around and ask yourself, do the people represent the totality of our culture? Do the people in this meeting equally represent the people I am trying to sell my product to? Do the people I'm collaborating with represent the people I am trying to reach? And if not, take a lesson from Lady Liberty and go find them. Recruit them to your cause. There's something valuable that each of us brings to the table. The best potlucks are those where everyone brings a dish, right? All right. One of the biggest lessons my mother has taught me is to be empathetic to others. And at times it's challenging, but she's there to remind me. My mother also taught me how to dream, to look beyond those around me and to look to those I desire to be. She built my character and gave me the confidence to go about any challenge. She ingrained in me a positive mindset and to always be optimistic. I am who I am because of her. Now, I may not be a Muslim woman who wears a hijab. I may not be the white man who is the first in his family to go to college. I may not be the veteran returning to civilian life after serving our country, but I can choose to have empathy for their experience. There are people in our country today who are afraid of using their voices because they have given so much to get here in the first place that they are scared it will be taken away. So I say to you this, don't be a bystander. Be the voice for the people whose voices are oftentimes unheard or ignored, and always stand up to injustice when you see it. Your character is more important than any paycheck. This is not our time to surround ourselves with walls. It is our time to be global citizens and to explore the people around the world and their rich diversity. Collectively, we need to understand that the power that we bring in uniting these states of America. Instead of making assumptions about others, let's ask, question, and challenge our existing thoughts and beliefs, and learn from those around us. Like many of you, I stuck my face in a lot of books for many years, thanks to them, hoping for the day that everything would make sense and all my work would pay off. And today, well, today's not that day. This was my dream, but as my mentor often says, when you achieve a dream, pick a new one. Hey, Quinn. Today was my dream and the dream of my parents. Tomorrow, there will be someone staring back at me in the mirror, wondering what is next. No matter what you think, we did not just live the greatest time of our life. The best is yet to come. The time of our lives where we can live and pursue our greatest purpose is now. We have control of whether we pursue our passions to our greatest ability or live the remainder of our lives just going through the flow of life. I don't care if you're 22 or 82. Our time to live the best version of our life starts when we recognize that time is precious and doing something you truly don't care about isn't worth your time. But sometimes we have to do something we don't want to do as a stepping stone to where we want to be. I'm not going to stand up here and pretend that I have any clue about my greater purpose. In fact, I'm more confused now about what I want to do than when I got here in the first place. Yes, I know what you're thinking, parents. These kids can't decide what they want to do, but we're millennials. What can you do? This is actually a good thing. We're supposed to be uncomfortable because that's when we learn, and we're supposed to struggle. This is the beauty of life and the beauty of living in this country. The ability to try all things, to be in a position with opportunities from all angles. We must recognize that this is the privilege that we have in living in this country. As we get ready to walk off this campus, I want to remind us about the first day we walked on this campus. We were googly-eyed. We didn't know anybody, but we reached out and made connections. And we tried to do a ton of things. Every day that we walk into an office and every day that we work to achieve a goal, we need to do so as the same googly-eyed freshman. There are languages and stories all around you. Learn from them. And now more than ever, ask questions and remain open to the experiences and the people all around you. We're entering a time where it's going to be unfamiliar. We're going to be around people who look and speak differently than us. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. So, do you remember what I asked you earlier? Let's see if you were listening. ናብ ዘብጽሕኹም ስድራቤትኩም ጠጠው በሉ ሰላም በልዎም። I bless you on this journey on behalf of myself and my family. Thank you. Thank you.
Man.